Welcome to Keep It Pro Training Call, brought to you by Networking Wisdom, featuring Rashawn Fulcher. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Monique, and I'm your host for today. Rashawn is the creator of Networking Wisdom and is the reason for this call each and every Sunday over 3.5 years. He's dedicated his time on consecutive Sundays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time absolutely free. Yes, this call is absolutely free, and everyone is welcome. On this call, you will learn the skills to be successful in network marketing and in life. Rashawn Fulcher is a well-respected international leader, trainer, coach, and a much sought-after mentor. He's a highly successful entrepreneur with 750,000 people globally in his network and has accomplished over $1 billion in sales. That's absolutely right, $1 billion in sales. Please get ready to listen and be empowered. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a very special treat. If you have not already, please get your pens and paper at hand to take copious notes. I have the pleasure of introducing to you a top leader and a top earner. At the tender age of just 25 years young, Rashawn earned his first $1 million. He's now a multimillionaire. He's a top 50 worldwide earner in MLM. That's in the 1 percentile out of hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. He's a top 50 earner, and he's helping people grow internally and with their businesses each day. This man knows how to make money, and he knows how to make money fast. What we all like most about Rashawn is his love for God and his love for mankind. He helps people reach their true potential. He enjoys having fun and sharing his wisdom. He's full of wisdom. A millionaire mentor, leader of leaders, and coaches of coaches. Without further ado, I introduce to some and present to others our mentor and friend, the California kid, the marketplace minister, Mr. Rashawn Fulcher. Are you with us now, Rashawn?
Absolutely, I am here. Thank you so much, Monique. You do a wonderful job week in and week out being our host. We love you and we appreciate you. Guys, I am excited to be back here with you on another edition of our Keep It Pro training call that we do every single Sunday, as you just mentioned. For those of you that are new to the line, just to give you the a couple housekeeping items here, these calls are always recorded. They're instantly uploaded as soon as the call is done, and they're available for you to download so that you can re-listen. One thing I also want to point out to you, every single week, guys, we teach on two specific things. Number one, we teach you the specific skills that you need to get yourself to the very top of whatever company it is that you're promoting. Again, so you're in the direct selling industry, whether you're a network marketing company or direct sales, it doesn't really matter. What you'll find on this call, guys, is we do not talk about company names, nor do we promote or discuss company products or services. We really focus in on the two things that you need to get to the top. Once again, the specific skills that you need, number one, and then number two, we teach you life skills as well. And so for those of you that are just joining in for the first time, we're glad to have you. Those of you that are back again, it's always good to have you back again. And we're going to continue. Today is part 3 of a series that we started now 3 weeks ago, entitled Patience. This is one of those life skills that we're teaching on today, and I'm telling you guys are in for a very, very, very special treat. I want to tell you in advance, I want to advise you and encourage you to re-listen to this call that you're about to hear today, because I can tell you you're getting ready to get some phenomenal information that definitely will transform your life if you apply it, okay? But this is part 3 of the series of patience. Now, patience is something that it's definitely you could add this as one of the skills as you're building something that you're going to need. You're going to need patience, right? But also, it's a life skill. That this is not just a topic that's limited to you building your team for whatever company you're promoted. But this is something that literally it will help shape. It'll help shape your future as you're going forward if you really understand patience and how to apply it. I can tell you guys, patience is something that's always been tough for me because I'm a right now type of guy, but it's also something it's a part of God's plan. And we're really gonna really unpack how to take in the word patience, how to actually go forward in patience. How you wait determines how long you wait. We're going to really break all this stuff down. And so today, guys, I brought a big hammer with me today, a big hammer, someone that I've got a tremendous amount of admiration, love, and respect. And it happens to be my own baby brother. I love calling him a baby, even though we're 42 and 41 years young. But I got to tell you, man, God knew what he was doing when he develops mankind, because my younger brother just has skills that I just don't have. He has gifts that I just don't have, and he's very, very talented. Wisdom is something that he just has a knack for wisdom. It's just always been his thing. When we were little boys, I was out playing basketball, trying to do my thing. He was always in the house studying, reading, and he just is always one of those very analytical, deep thinkers that are just very fascinated by, just principles, concepts, ideas, and theories. He's just driven in that way. He's a true leader amongst leaders. He's not involved in network marketing. He's not involved in our industry, but he certainly is a leader. By day, he's a fire captain, one of the youngest fire captains here in the Sacramento, California area. But also he owns his own business doing public speaking and actually teaching leadership-based principles around the world. So I know that this is a topic that's very dear to him, and I'm just delighted to be able to turn the entire floor, the entire 45 minutes to an hour, over to my younger brother, Mr. Rashawn Fulcher, as he really takes us on this patient ride, and we can't wait to hear. So, Rashawn, are you there with us? You must have dialed in on the wrong line, Rashawn, because we can't hear you. You got to dial in on the back line. So it was the text message that you received, but it looks like you're on mute. So that tells me you must be on the wrong line there. So you might want to hang up and redial in again, because we can't hear you if you're there. All right. While he's dialing in, I must say, following directions was always one of his challenges. Amongst all the many skills, following directions just definitely wasn't his forte. See, I could say that as my brother. So, but hopefully he'll be in here with us. I know I heard him on earlier, so let's see here if he dialed in on the line that I text you, and follow the specific promptings that I gave you, because that'll bring you right in on the back line. All righty. If you can hear me there, Rashawn, you want to... Yeah. All right. Yeah, are you there? Rashawn, are you there? Hello? Guys, give us just a second. He says he's logging back in. He must have came in on the wrong number. Patience. All right, let's see. Are you there? Okay, Rashawn, are you there? Hello? Let's see here. talk to him. He was punching in the numbers the wrong way. So he's coming on right now. Patience, literally. See how, guys, we're talking about patience. We all exercising patience right now.
Can you hear me?
All right, Rashawn, you're there. We can hear you. All righty.
I made it. Thank God I made it.
All right, well, thanks for jumping on, man, and the floor is all yours.
I was listening to you prep the floor. I appreciate it. I can't say more than enough about how you intro me. It's an honor and a privilege always, one, to be with family, but secondly, to be with you because, I mean, you are fire on top of fire, and I'm not going to go too much into that because I don't want to belabor the listeners, but just know I love you for who you are, and I love you also for what you do and how you do it. With that being said, now I heard you set the floor, and this is part 3 of patience, and I'm excited, man, because when you called me about this thing, I had been thinking about this for a week. As you know, I had traveled to Alaska to do some fishing, and the stories I'm telling all lead into patience because I was traveling, and I was in Alaska, and I was fishing, and obviously you got to be patient. You got to wait on the bite. You have to wait on the fish. And there's a lot of factors. So I've been letting this message brew for about a week now. So I'm really excited. The title of this is called 6 Points of Patience. I'll say it again. 6 Points of Patience. Now, before I do this, and before I speak anytime, I like to take a moment of silence to let all of our being arrive at where we are. Because your ears might be here, but your brain might be somewhere else. Your hands might be doing something else. Your spirit might be doing something else. So what I want to do is take a moment, have a moment of silence and reflection. For some of you, you may pray, others you may not. I'm going to take this moment to let all of your being arrive at where you want it to be.
And while you're doing that, if you don't mind, Rashawn, can you speak up a little bit louder so we can hear you real loud and clear?
You got it. God, in your word, you said, where 2 or more are gathered, you be in the midst of us. We ask you right now, let this call be purposeful for your direction for each hearer on this call, and that your will be done. With that being said, I ask every listener to close your eyes and think about what I'm going to ask you. I want you to envision one personal or physical goal that you have. Next, I want you to envision one professional goal that you have. Finally, I want you to envision one spiritual or humanitarian goal that you have. I want you to see those clearly with your eyes closed. Exactly what you want to accomplish personally or physically, exactly where you want to be professionally, and exactly what you want to accomplish spiritually or humanitarian. I want it to be so clear you can see it, taste it, smell it, and hear it before you open your eyes. Now, take a moment and reflect on each one of these goals as if they are seeds being planted and tended to by you. Now open your eyes and ask yourself, would anyone hire you to watch over their garden? If your dreams, goals, personally, professionally, physically, humanitarian, or spiritually, are like a seed being planted, and if the way you've tended to it and cared for it and planted it has been such, would somebody hire you to do the same for them? Because Matthew 25 and 21 says, if you're faithful over a few things, I'll make you ruler over many. So as we talk about being patient for something, we got to preference that with, are you faithful over a few things? Because no matter what you're being patient for, If you're not faithful with what you already have, you might as well be wasting your time. Okay? 6 points of patience. Here's where you're going to need your pen. The first point of patience is called pain. I'll list each one of them, then we'll go back. Pain. The second one is process. The third is purpose. The fourth is planning. The fifth is patience. And the sixth is prayerful. Now, I'll circle back. Pain, process, purpose, planning, patience, and prayerful. We're going to talk about each one of these when it comes to patience. Pain. Pain is everything uncomfortable between you and your goals that brings you in communion with your purpose. Say it again. Everything uncomfortable between me and my goal that brings me in communion with my purpose. What do you mean? Pain is a process with a purpose, but that process should bring you in communion. What is communion? Communion is when we share intimate thoughts, ideas, and we spend time together with your purpose. So pain should bring you in communion with your process, with your purpose. I'll take Ramasio, for example. He's been on the call. He's been hosting it. If you know anything about Ramasio and anything about his journey, everything that he has gone through that has been uncomfortable has brought him more towards an enlightenment with what he's called to do. So when you start thinking, how is pain a process with a purpose? The process and the purpose is it brings you in communion with your purpose. And anytime you commune with something, it learns you and you learn it. The next point is process. Process is living in communion with purpose. Process, meaning as you go through pain. For example, if your leg is broken and there's a healing process, that healing process you have to go through brings you in communion with why you want your leg healed in the first place. What are you going to do with it? Think about it. When you're injured and you're rehabbing and you're healing, you sit there and you go, God, I can't wait for this to be over. The reason you can't wait for it to be over is because you want to get back to doing what you used to do. That's purpose. So process is living in communion with your purpose. Again, communion is anytime you share intimacy, time, details, thoughts with a thing. You're in communion with it. So again, process means living in communion with your purpose. Now, purpose is the why that eliminates the whining. I'm going to say it again. Purpose is the why. Ramasio talks about this all the time. You have to know your why. The reason is you're going to get smacked in the mouth, you're going to get kicked in the back, and you're going to get knocked down. And if you don't know why you're getting up, it makes it very difficult to get up. So the why, the purpose is the why. Why are you doing this? That eliminates the fact of you whining. So if we're talking about network marketing and you're climbing that ladder, there's going to be times when you get no a lot more than you get yes. If you let a single no knock you down, that means you don't understand your purpose. You don't understand your purpose because your purpose should eliminate the whining. The fourth point, planning. Planning is a pre-thought-out, well-defined blueprint with built-in checkpoints. Say it again. Planning is a pre-thought-out, well-defined blueprint with checkpoints. So when you start thinking about, am I being patient, I'm going to circle back on all of this, and you look at the planning of it all. Have you planned it? Is it pre-thought out? Is it well-defined? Is there a blueprint? Is there checkpoints, checks and balances? When you go to build a house, you don't just start putting sticks up. You have to have a planning process where it's very detailed, very thought out. Because when we start sitting there talking about being patient, these are things that have to come before patience. The next one, the fifth point, is patience. Patience is an active recirculating process. Let me say it again. It's an active recirculating process. Patience isn't inactive. It's very active. It's recirculating, meaning you circle back. You do it again and again and again. You circle back. If you're being patient, it's an active process. The last one is prayerful or mindset. Bible in 1 Thessalonians 5:7 says, pray without ceasing. So now let's talk, when we start talking about the 6 points, and we talk about prayerful being the last point of the 6, it talks about a mindset. What is your mindset? So how do you pray without ceasing, as he says in Thessalonians? It's listening versus talking. Listening versus talking. I remember in 2020, I had a New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution in 2020 was, I'm not going to ask God for anything. In 2020, I haven't asked God for a thing. I said, I'm going to thank God for everything. So you want to know how you pray without ceasing? Stop asking for stuff and start listening. Stop asking for stuff and start thanking for what you have. Start it with an attitude of gratitude. So in 2020, that's what I did. I said, I'm not going to ask for a thing. I'm going to say thank you for everything. If I'm on a plane and there's turbulence, thank you for the turbulence. If I'm somewhere and it's cold, thank you for the coldness. The reason why is because it keeps you in the process of being in a prayerful mindset. Folks that turn to a sour mindset can't see blessings coming. You couldn't even recognize it if it landed on your face because of your mindset. That's why prayerfulness or mindfulness is the last part of the 6. Okay? Now, proper patience completes a perfect work in you. Proper patience does that. I believe it's in James 1:4 where it talks about that. But proper patience completes a perfect work in you. Patience is a purifier. It's a purifier. Now, here's something I want you to do. I want you to eliminate the word waiting from your vocabulary. Lazy people wait. Progressive people prepare. I'll say it again. Lazy people wait. Progressive people prepare. Jesus said, I go to prepare a place for you. He didn't say I go to wait for you. I go to prepare a place for you because it's an active process. Waiting is a passive, non-purposeful process. Preparing is an active, purposeful process. Waiting builds frustration, while preparing builds expectation. See, when you wait on somebody, the whole world waiting on something means I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm aloof. I'm just waiting around. But when you say I'm preparing for something, it means you have an active part in the process of whatever it is you're doing. So when we start talking about patience, it's an active preparation. That's why I said patience is a recirculating process. And you recirculate. I did it once. Let me double check it. Let me go through it again. You're not just sitting there waiting. Patience is not an inactive thing. It's an active thing. When expectations are not met, patience must be applied. Patience is like a muscle exercised in the midst of disappointment, distraction, despair, and devastation. It's like a muscle. So if you're not working that muscle, it's not getting any stronger. And again, the muscle is an active muscle. It's not an inactive. It's not waiting, just waiting for something to show up. It's I'm preparing for it before it comes. Because when you prepare for a thing, you have an expectation for a thing. When you wait on the thing, you have no expectation on it because you're not involved in the process. So when we start talking about the 6 points of patience, it's an active process where you recirculate. You start it all over again. You plan it. You reconsider it. You think about it. You don't just sit and wait on it. So here's one thing you have to ask yourself. When you're being patient, are your expectations realistic based on, are you well prepared? Are you well trained? Are you spiritually equipped for what you're requesting, expecting, and willing to surrender to? I'm going to say that again because I know that just missed some people. Are you spiritually equipped for what you're asking for or expecting? And are you spiritually equipped for what you will be required to surrender to? Because patience is a purifier. The reason why patience becomes uncomfortable is what patience reveals about ourselves. If you ever want to test what you think about yourself, stand in the mirror for a very uncomfortable time looking at yourself. I'm going to say it again. Stand in the mirror for an uncomfortable time and look at yourself. Because, see, patience is a purifier, which means it holds you in the place you need to be until the work is complete. Just like if you began to look at yourself in the mirror and it becomes uncomfortable, you want to move after a certain while because you don't either like what you see or you see too many things you think you need to fix, and it causes you to feel like I have to do something. And either you stand there and do the work or you leave the mirror and you dress yourself and you hide and you cover it up, whatever it is you don't want. See, patience is a purifier. And so when we start talking, part 3 of patience, it's those 6 points that I mentioned. Pain, process, purpose, planning, patience, and prayerfulness are the 6 points to patience. Because patience is an active expectation. I'm actively expecting something because I'm actively doing the work. But I'm doing the work the right way. Here's a good example in the story. We've all been there where we've been in the car either as kids, as passengers, or as a parent driving, where we're supposed to go on a family vacation. And now the kids are in the backseat distracted for the first hour on whatever it is, a cell phone, a game box, whatever it is. Then after that hours go by, they say, what? Are we there yet? Have we arrived yet? They have no idea how long the trip takes. They didn't do any research to figure out how long it would take. They didn't investigate, ask you questions of where they're going, nothing. They just had an expectation to wake up and arrive somewhere. Very unrealistic expectation. And so you have to ask yourself, when we talk about patience, are you the person asking God or whoever, are we there yet? Without doing anything? Not having researched the journey? Not having studied the trip? Not having asked any questions about where you're going, and you just want to arrive? Because that means you're not doing the work. Because if you're patient, it means you're preparing. And if you're preparing, it means you're expecting. And that's the difference between waiting and preparing. Waiting, you're just sitting there, like I said, like the kids in the back seat of the car with the Game Boy, and all of a sudden you pop your head up and you expect to arrive somewhere. That's waiting. Preparing means you're looking at a map, you're scoping it out, you're doing your research, you're figuring out where you go, you're figuring out what you're going to do when you get there, you're figuring out how far things are from one another. You're studying the place at which you plan to arrive at. And I know in the black community, we always say fake it till you make it. In order to fake it till you make it, you got to know what you're faking. You got to research it. You got to know what it looks like, what it smells like, what it talks like, what it walks like. You can't just sit there. You have to prepare for it. So again, when we talk about part 3 of patience, the takeaway is this. Patience is a purifier. If you're sitting there and you're preparing patiently and properly, patience will do its perfect work in you. It will complete you. So remember the 6 points we talked about: pain, process, purpose, planning, patience, and prayerfulness as you go. And at any point in time in the journey, if you get stuck, reevaluate each one of these. Each one of these. Is pain bringing me in communion with my purpose? Is the process having me live in communion with my purpose? Purpose, the why. Is the why I'm doing this eliminating me from whining? Is my why strong enough? Is it strong enough? Do I want it bad enough? Do I need it bad enough? Do I care about it bad enough to where it will push me through those dark hours? Planning. Have I thought this out? Do I have a blueprint? Do I have built-in checks and balances? Or am I just doing this willy-nilly? Patience. If I've done all the things above, let me recirculate. Let me be active. Let me not be waiting and not expecting, building frustration. Let me stay engaged and active in what I'm doing. Let me do it again. Let me call them again. Let me read it again. Let me check on it again. Let me call and go out there and start whatever process I started again from the beginning. Let me refine it. The builders say measure twice and cut once. Am I prayerful about it? How is my mindset? Am I listening or am I talking? Am I spending every day listening to where I'm at in this process? Am I evaluating myself? Am I listening to the voice of God? Am I trying to live in communion with my purpose? Or am I constantly talking to God, telling him what I need, what I want, what I expect? Because here's one thing I know. If you're talking, you can't hear. If you're talking, you can't hear. And if there's anybody wiser than me in the room, I want to spend more time listening and less time talking. That's what it means when it says pray without ceasing. Constantly stay in the presence of God so you can hear God. You're always evaluating, am I hearing it right? Am I listening to it? Is it resonating? Or are you always asking, searching for the hand of God instead of the heart of God? That's why that's the 6th point. Because after you've done all those things and you've been patient and you recirculated actively back to the top, you went through pain and you went through patience and you went through purpose and you went through process and you've done all those things, then you get to the bottom where it's prayerfulness. What is my mind state? Am I frustrated? Am I devastated? Because if you've done it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and you went through the process 6 or 7 times, you bumped your head 8 or 9 times, the door's been closed on you a bunch of times, you get to the point where you say to yourself, I've done all I can do. Then you got to ask yourself, what is your mindset? That's the final one. What is your mindset? What is your mindset? What is your mindset? What is your mindset? Do you have an entitlement mindset, meaning that because I've done process 1 through 5, it should arrive? What is your mindset? Because I've been here long enough, it should be mine? What is your mindset? Because I know so-and-so, it should be mine? What is your mindset? Because I show up on a networking weekend call, it should be mine? What is your mindset? What is your mindset? That's why it's the last one. Because at the end, what it should be is, am I in communion with God? Am I hearing his voice? Am I praying without ceasing? Am I constantly listening versus talking? What is your mindset? So, again, patience is a purifier. If you go through all these things and you recirculate and you go back to the top, the 6 points, and you go through it again and again, each time it drops something off of you that shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be there. So remember that. Patience is a purifier. It creates in you a perfect work when it's done properly. I'll leave you with this. Before I close, my mother always said this. Life is like a camera. Focus on what's important, develop from the negative, and if it doesn't work out, always take another shot. I appreciate my time, Mas.
Wow, thank you so much, Sean. That was absolutely incredible. The 6 P's of patience. I got a notepad full of notes. Thank you for your wisdom. Continue to be blessed in all your endeavors, guys. And that's it. That wraps up part 3 of the series of patience. What a wonderful, well laid out call for you to go ahead. Hopefully you took notes. I hope that you take a minute to reflect on your notes. Don't just bury them and on to the next. Reflect on what you just heard. Ask yourself, how does those 6 points, how do you measure up with those 6 points on your personal goal, your financial goal, and your spiritual goal? That was so well laid out. Thank you again, and thank you for the extra added scriptures as a point of reference so people can even go even deeper. Wow, I can't thank you enough for what you did. Thank you so much. Listen, I want to let you guys know next week we are beginning a new series. It is entitled Master Builder. Now listen, this one here is going to be a very good series, I can tell you, entitled Master Builder. Now, some of you may think, oh, okay, this is for all the network marketers. No, it's for everyone. So I want to encourage you, bookmark it now. I want to encourage you tell a few friends, and I also want to encourage you to put it in your notes to re-listen to each edition of next week's calls once we get started with this series. Master builder, you were put here on this earth to build something. Whether you're building your family, you're building your health, you're building your community, you're building your profession, you're building your bank account, build something. You're a builder. And so I can't wait off of the hills of the Patient series to now leap into the Master Builder series. I can't wait to unravel this for you guys. I promise you I'm going to stick my whole foot in this thing when we get started next week. I'm telling you, I'm coming with all guns blazing next week. All guns blazing. All guns. Oh, I can't wait. This will be some of my best work. So I want to encourage you, whether I'm talking to 1 million people or I'm talking to one person, it don't matter. I'm telling you, it's going to be fire. So, as we always say, guys, in all that you do, never forget, there's nobody any more important than you. I love you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks again, Rashawn. Bye-bye, everybody.